Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for coming. It's been a pleasure being a partner with these fine gentlemen here for now a few years and getting this started. Thanks for the attendance here today. I know Mark promised you all Joe Montana, but Desmond did deliver, and you got a picture. But now you're stuck with me. But if you guys want to come and join, I would like to welcome you back to the stage. Thanks for the fine presentations from each of you. And wanted to lead off with a few questions and then invite the audience to see what they may be able to add on. So thanks again, gentlemen. So again, we have Will, Desmond, Adam, Sean. Actually, Will is not going to join us by telecommunication. Wanted to throw some general questions out, and I don't know if we're going to direct to any one of you to start, but really wanted to focus, given this group and in the heartland and the very nature of the fund and our initiative here, is what about the Midwest in particular is the most attractive for your business, and also maybe the biggest challenge for the business, so we can wrap our heads around where we can best maybe find ways to align those interests further, which has really been the overall theme I've heard from all of you express, is that alignment of interests across spectrum, across investment, and across solving the problems in your relative industries. And if you want to start, whoever's best for you guys.
Sure.
Sean, please.
The best part and the worst part are the work ethic. Both the best part and the worst part. So we come here because, heart of manufacturing, there's a lot of wheelhouse clients, a lot of great things we can improve, but it's also that tough guy mentality that we're competing against, and how can we address that? So the appealing thing is really it's a great proving ground for us that we see as a way to drive thought leadership around the use of our safety score as a proxy for operational output. But we're dealing with guys who don't need to be helped, right? And that's both the most appealing part and the most challenging.
Do you see that going to make the Midwest a more fertile ground for what you're looking to do, or a better proving ground, or is it just the whole U.S. or internationally all going to be about the same? How would you weight, say, the Midwest relative to the rest of the opportunity set you have nationally?
Yeah, West is the best, right? Midwest is the best, is that what they say? We see...
I think you said the West has the pansies out there, and here the men are all in the Midwest.
Yeah, I saw Midwest is the best. That's right.
Okay,
that's right. Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, no, that's very good. Sorry, Brooklyn. We see manufacturing here. I mean, it's just that this is where it is. When we're out on the coast, it's a lot more. It's
more tech heavy, and therefore less industry.
And a lot less interconnected networking. Mm-hmm. They don't lean on each other as much, and a lot more closed door operations. I can go to an Amazon warehouse on one street and then go down the corner to a Walmart warehouse, but there's no way anyone there is ever allowed to talk to each other, right?
Sure.
So there's much more community here. There's a lot more building here, and then there's a lot more replicable industries. So it's nice also to be here because there's, the RVs, the common thing that you can see here in a siloed area. Mm-hmm. You kind of delineate this as a capital for that in the country, whereas you don't get that so much
concentration. So the word of mouth here from this room could really help benefit their own investment and becomes really, again, alignment of interest.
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. Adam, same question, please.
Yeah. So just going off that, actually, in our business, obviously on the West Coast, there's a lot of techies, right? People are using mobile apps. They're using all sorts of new things. I think the adoption of tech is obviously greater because they're just seeing so many things. And so in the phone ordering world, we actually see a lot more adoption in the Midwest. If you look at a P&L, almost 70% of a pizza place's revenue is actually coming through the phone in the Midwest. And so we actually find a lot of customers in the Midwest see more value than the coasts, which is really awesome for us. I think one of the hard parts is the labor cost is still lower here. So when it comes to the value prop of like, hey, you're saving labor and the minimum wage is only $7.25. We're not helping them out as much in that regard. So it's kind of you can help them in one place, but you can't help them in the other. And so people really look at that and bake in the costs around that to see if our solution is going to help. So can't win them all, obviously, but the Midwest has been really, really great for us.
Thank you. Desmond, same question, I guess, and to pivot on that a little bit, when you look at this overall is there any relationship to unemployment rates across the country, as well as also in the question Adam just said, or his answer in terms of the cost for that unit labor also is the cost for HR a little bit less here than maybe perhaps on the coast. Does that impact the successfulness of your business or challenge here, or is the opportunity equal?
Are you saying what's the difference?
The differential, Midwest is an attractive business because of some of those things. Is the Midwest as attractive, more attractive, less attractive for you from an expansion standpoint?
Yeah, this is great, and I really don't want to go into this politics here. But when I last met with actually Mayor Pete when I was here, Mayor Pete was trying to tell me how South Bend is the frame of this actually beta city that is very similar to most parts of the whole US. And I found it to be very true. Actually, most cities in the country is not San Francisco, it's not LA, right? But most parts of the country is like South Bend, or it's like where we are at in this actually Midwest. And that is what I found. And I actually grew up in this space, as I was sharing with you all my own story. My own parents, they are both actually hourly workers. They grew up in this space. So coming to the Midwest, I think has been huge for us, is because it's where most people in the US, it is actually in terms of the structure, these companies that I talk to. So it's been really great for me to be here. Yeah.
So I'm hearing from that a relatable feedback loop, essentially. Does that apply to all of you in terms of what you found here with business success and finding clients here? Has that been a feedback model that is going to be beneficial at a higher rate, perhaps, to help expand?
Yeah, I mean, I surely think so. I feel that is how I felt, being able to work with some of my clients here. They've been able to give me some feedback on the software product. For example, one case in point is one client here was telling me that, hey, some of people who try for jobs, they may not have this smartphone. Over here, they have normal phones. That is not the case when I'm back in this SF. Everyone has iPhone 10, everyone. So that's a very different trend that I see, and Silicon Valley is not the same as the rest of the world. So being able to build a product for people in this Midwest, for people here, has been very helpful overall.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So much of the thesis for Heartland is that the world's awash with liquidity, and if you only can add capital and cash, you're not really adding enough of value. In terms of, in this case, it's been introducing to potential clients and some of that feedback loop. To make it most relatable to this room, though, what are some of the biggest challenges that your businesses are facing where, again, the alignment of interest, how can this room best help their endeavor of their investment in terms of that feedback back to you? I understand that, as Mark laid out, some of the forms for additional clients or that kind of thing. But could you help me talk a little bit about some of the biggest challenges you're facing and what perhaps we could help with from a feedback loop?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that. So I think when we pitch to a lot of the Midwest clients, and when we say the term artificial intelligence, it's like, oh my God, what is this? Is this the robots going to take over the world? And so part of it is, a little bit of hand-holding that needs to be done, a little bit of education around, look, AI is a very new thing. There's no system that's purely AI per se. What is AI? It's a group of humans that's training a system, making it better, and then that's being deployed. And so I think that could be a pretty big thing that you guys could help with, is just educating the market. And part of it is, look, a part of our strategy is we have the humans in the background. You need that to build a really great tech system, right? And actually most of those people come from the Midwest, in places like Georgia, where we have about 150 or 60 humans that help train the AI. And when you tell that to customers like Donato's, they're like, wow, okay, there's actual people involved here. This is not just all smoke and mirrors. It's a system that they can believe in versus companies coming out of the valley just saying that, hey, we can do this with complete AI.
Yeah, please. Yeah, and feedback for us is you see a lot of candor. When all the companies we've seen here have been pretty direct. I think as Mark mentioned, some people are like, we don't need this. I don't want to deal with this guy. But they let us pitch, and then we flip them. And it's great to just get the upfront feedback in the beginning. We just had a discussion out in the hallway where we identified a place where we thought we could help, but the injury rates just aren't there. But apparently I didn't do a good job of talking about the operational insights. So just getting that feedback directly in an environment that's both applicable from an investor standpoint, but also from an actual industry standpoint is invaluable for growth and for keeping the company in check.
So the customer acquisition kind of feedback helps you then and keep on improving it, especially. I think you really expressed the sensitivity, Sean, to the person, that worker, and making sure you're improving quality of life, not just the financial metric of it, and especially that pivot to more industrial, not just logistics. As you look at AI, and all three of you really are really focused in some aspects on AI. How do you see AI continuing to transform the Midwest? And great point in terms of being advocates here for AI. Has that been a big barrier for all three of you to help get past that in terms of the fear in some people's minds of elimination of the labor pool as opposed to the improvement and betterment of the quality of life moving up that ladder a bit?
And I'll jump in quick on this one because it's easy for me. It's, robots coming and taking over. Had a big scare in areas that robots were made. So on the coasts, near SF and near New York and stuff like that, and down by Texas. And I think over here, just a lot of that noise was missed. And so we're going in and we don't get a lot of that contention. We go to warehouses and plants near New York City, and we've got to give the spiel on GDPR compliance and ISO certification and anonymization and all that stuff, and then replacing the worker. And here they're like, yeah, we get it. Robots are 30 years out. Let's help get a roadmap so we understand the data and the value to get us there. And that's been really actually helpful for us.
I think the reality is that the cost of doing business is going greater. Small businesses are really feeling the pinch, right? We walk into a restaurant and we look at a P&L statement and it's like they're barely breaking even. There was 100,000 restaurants closed down in the US last year. And so when you approach them and say, hey, this is AI, they're actually much more open to chatting because they know that this is the future. This is where the industry needs to go because, your food costs are 30%. They used to be 20%, a couple of years back. Your rent is going up like crazy. Labor is going up like crazy. So you have to, I think, if we were doing these sort of companies maybe 5 years ago, people would be less, willing to even look at it and be like, oh, what are you talking about? AI, robots. Like, there's no way I'm going to let you, have a robot answer my phone. But now that the industry is hurting so much, we're almost being sucked in from a product market fit point of view. And people are much more open. And then, we do add the human element to it, right? We're people, we're talking to them, we're on the front lines, trying to humanize the whole thing. We're even doing things like changing the accents. Can we make it so it's a Midwestern accent, or a Texan, that's picking up the phone, or even a celebrity that maybe we'll get Jay-Z.
Talk to Desmond. He has a whole lineup.
So just text him now. Let me do it.
Yeah. But I think people are much more open to it in this day and age, and of course, with your guys' help, we'll get there even faster.
Desmond, any thoughts?
Yeah, sure. And I think trying to build upon what has been shared here, I think I see a world whereby it's going to be both human and AI. They will both work as a team. For me, at least, I don't see a world of pure AI. I mean, just to share with you all a very fun story. I live in actually Palo Alto, where you'll see all the self-driving cars around, and that's so cool. It's going to cut so many jobs. But fun fact is, I always see people manually trying to add fuel to this self-driving cars. So the cars cannot drive unless someone helps them to have fuel. So, and I think there's just so many cases of this that it is going to be always humans and AI that will co-work as a team. And I really see this future. And this so-called AI has been around for a very long time. Just think about how we wash clothes today. Washing machine is AI. It washes your clothes for you. So I think that trend has been around for a very long time, but is this how PR and media love to frame things to be very sexy. All these things has been around for a very long time. Like one of this actually classes that I taught by like this Andrew Ng, who is like the father of AI back at Stanford. He was sharing, yeah, AI has been around for a very long time. Just think about, your this email spam and email, right? It has always been there, but just like the way that PR and this media tries to frame AI in a way that is very scary, it is not, right? It will always be humans and AI working as a team. So,
just going off of that real quick, I think what Desmond is hitting on is a really important topic. Like, oh my gosh, AI has taken away all these jobs away from people, and that's actually not the case. With AI, it's a like I said, it's a symbiosis of technology and humans. We just, sure, we implemented this AI, but in the background, we just created another 150 jobs, and we're adding 10 to 15 people a week to our platform to help train the AI. And then, the argument comes, well, there's not going to be cashiers and cooks anymore. Well, the reality is that because, again, the industry is pushing these people out, those people can be doing more creative things, right? Things that will be more valuable. You don't necessarily need a college degree to get there, but it almost forces that type of worker to go beyond their limits, in a sense.
That's great, thank you. I think everybody in this room is very passionate about the Midwest. From here, work here, have presence here. And Desmond, thank you. I know you've added some folks to the Midwest in terms of employment. And I want to get a feel for this room, again, lining interest here. What would it take for you to expand operations in the Midwest, given the proximity to such a good customer base, the investment, as well as, I think, a quality of living, instead of cost of living, but a quality of living? What would it take to do that, and is that something on the in the immediate future or future at all for expansion from an employment standpoint?
Yeah, for us, it's just expanding. That's it. We want to be able to. We're branching out into new industries this year, and our ability to kind of define and pioneer protocols for certain industries and partner with companies that want to be those pioneers is something that we are targeting in a various strategies throughout this year. Now that we've kind of done the whole 3PL thing very well, and now we're confident with our data pool to drive that forward. So for us, it's just finding the opportunity and getting the scale, and it's an easy one for us to have a team here servicing clients that are in that vein.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've already started to make strides in doing that, especially with our agents in the background. I think moving operations here is a little bit, given the engineering talent that we look for is harder, but definitely not out of the question. There's hubs like in Chicago and Columbus where you get some really talented people coming out of great universities that we can start to work with. I think it's just a matter of time before we start building an office here.
Great. Well, thank you. We all appreciate that. I'm going to have some questions from the audience first, but I'd like you guys to think about for a second any requests. We'll kind of complete, we're all said and done, with any request, if you have any for the audience, in terms of what can we do to help you leverage the Midwest to be more successful for our mutual benefit. Think about that for a second. And do we have any questions we could ask these gentlemen? That'd be, please.
I was going to modify the question is, what would it take for you to open up, not just move, but have a division here or a pilot to either back office or sales office, either through Heartland or Idea Center or University of Notre Dame, to have a presence in here?
I think we.
That's a question to all three of you.
Yeah. I think Heartland does a really good job of driving new clients in, and I think that's a whole hell of a lot of a lift. I think we all share pretty similar veins that we can all be in, some pretty similar client, at least use cases. So whether or not it's the exact same client, it's probably a pretty similar sales persona that we're going after in terms of the type of client relationship manager that we have. So really it's about, if there's enough density, there's resources we can share and grow. I think finding a person that could work and be dynamic enough, or finding types of people that can work and be dynamic enough, justifies us to going in on salary here.
Yeah, we definitely want to be moving into the Midwest. if you were to see some of the sticker prices on the salaries that we pay in Silicon Valley, you'd be shocked. But that's the price you pay out there because of the costs, right? So for me, as a CEO of the company that's also managing the burn, it's really important that we start to look at different routes, and that'll be really soon as this year, to start doing that in every department: engineering, sales, ops. We've already have some ops here, but expanding the sales and account management even out here is going to be important for us soon.
And I think for me, right? I mean, as what Brian was sharing, we do have a team here, and I do have plans to try to grow further. I think for me, it's just trying to be exposed to even more clients and trying to partner with more folks here. As our current presence here grow, we definitely plan to scale up here further. I mean, even in the drive up with Connor, I was trying to ask him, hey, I want to hire more people here. Can you help me find someone? And he's been trying to ask around and has this network. So I think it's both a factor of talent, the so-called the right fit of people, which we are trying to look for, and also client base. So thank you.
And one other thing, we could definitely use your guys' help. I mean, you guys have connections here, places that we could potentially expand, or maybe there's a hub of engineers, so would love to explore that if you guys have ideas on that.
Any other questions from the audience? Any last requests you guys would have from the audience to help them in some respects?
I'm just going to jump on this training. It's fostering the community. Obviously we want more. We all want. I think this is cool that we are related enough. We want data and we want clients, right? We need data to make our products better. We need more clients to make us more money. With that, there's a lot of stuff that we can drive here. We're not going to move engineering talent necessarily here. I think we can harvest some from the university, but it's challenging still. I mean, it's challenging enough in our own cities.
Definitely.
But the buzz that we can create and the impact that we can create over time and evangelizing the area itself and driving that kind of insight takes a community, but it can have long-term huge impacts, and that's what we want to do. So if we can just work all on this, you help us and we're going to make you guys a lot of money, right?
And I think for me, I want to build on that. I do feel like one thing that I've heard from here is every time I meet with people are very keen to meet face to face, which is great. But at least for my own company, we are now starting to have more people work remote, right, from where they are. And I feel that is a trend that I hope people can be more open to, right? Trying to talk via Zoom, and trying to just do through calling. I feel that works very well. In terms of talent, I actually strongly believe that talent, it is actually everywhere. So today I have actually software. I have 0 software people based in actually SF. Most of my software talent are somewhere else. So I believe strongly that there can be software talent everywhere. There's very, very good schools here. So I firmly believe that if we can all be more open to trying to work from home, trying to work from where you are, I think there's even more chances. We don't have to frame our thinking in a sense we must have a hub. There must be 20 people here or 100 people here. But I think there's been more and more companies where people can work from anywhere, right? And if people are much more and more open to that, there can be more talent that's formed, people who can work from anywhere, many of them from here, Midwest. So, yeah.
Appreciated.
I think, it goes without saying, but clients are a big one. With the Heartland guys like Max and Mark being in that room when Donato's, and literally within 30 minutes, it was a close of a sale, is pretty crazy, right? And I think that only happens when you have a very strong connection into a brand. So leveraging, the community at Heartland, you guys being able to make those phone calls is massive. We can grow so much faster with pulling strings like that. So if you guys have any folks that would be interested, that would be great. And then I think the big number 2 again goes down to the burn rate. This is we're very thankful for your guys' support, and cheaper ways to scale is of course going to be super beneficial to learn. If you guys have maybe office space, right, where we could house 50 or 60 people, taking calls, helping train the AI, that would be huge, right? Otherwise, we're working with these crazy WeWorks of the world that are, price gouging as much as they can for VC-backed companies. So I think that would be another big help.
Great. Well, Sean, Adam, Desmond, thank you so much for your time. Well done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.